Psychology in the news.
All right, Sam. Yes.
Oh, hi, Paige. How's it going?
Yeah, hi. Are you checking out your mustache in the pond?
Well, yes, I was actually. I was just going for a ride on my horse Shadow, and we were galloping through the woods. And as you know, galloping is very thirsty business. So I got a little thirsty and saw this beautiful lake and got down to have some water. And as I was about to take a drink, I got distracted by my beautiful reflection, and I just couldn't tear myself away.
Oh, interesting. I mean, it is a beautiful reflection, but I think there's a myth or something along those lines of someone who keeps looking at himself in the pond and dies.
Ah, yes, that's a very good point. Let me just, oops. This takes me back to the myth, of course, of Narcissus. And as we know, from the myth, Narcissus himself got into trouble in precisely this situation. So what happened was he was galloping through the woods too, and he stopped for a drink, and there are various myths. One is that he fell into the lake and drowned. The other is that he just was so mesmerized by his own reflection that he couldn't tear himself away, and he starved. And that is what, of course, gives us this concept today of narcissism, those who are, this sort of self-love.
So narcissism is self-love, but it's kind of confusing, right? Because sometimes narcissists can be great to be around. Sometimes narcissists can be terrible to be around. What is the deal with narcissism?
Well, that's true. So there's been lots of research on narcissism, and we've learned a lot about it. But one of the puzzles that crops up is how narcissists are viewed by other people. And it's a puzzle because some research shows that narcissists tend to be liked by others, and some research shows that narcissists tend to be disliked. So one team of researchers thought, well, maybe we can look into this puzzle, because maybe what happens is that at some times within a process of getting to know them, like as you get to know them over time, perhaps that sometimes you like them and sometimes you don't. So what they did was they studied groups of people getting to know each other over, say, about 15 weeks' time, and they measured how much the people liked each other in the group. And what they found out was that early on in the process, narcissists, people who score high on the personality trait of narcissism, what they tend to be liked very much at the beginning, but as time goes on, after several weeks, they tend to become disliked. And how they explain this was in terms of some of the different motives associated with narcissism. So one thing we know is that narcissists have this great need for admiration, and they also tend to have a sense of rivalry. They want to be better than others and put themselves above others, even if that means putting others down. And so what these researchers showed was that early on in the process, in the acquaintance process, when you're just getting to know people in groups, the need for admiration is what's strongest. And so as a result, the narcissist will often be very charming to others in the group, so that others really come to like them. But as time goes on, the need for admiration diminishes and the need for rivalry grows, and so the narcissists begin to behave differently, and they begin to be less charming and begin to kind of try to push themselves up at the expense of others, with the consequence that people like them less as time goes on.
Interesting. You know, for our students who are often in new living situations, they just, moved into a dorm, or they have a new set of roommates, or they're new to a fraternity or sorority, some of this might be sounding familiar, that at the very beginning there's someone that, they love being around, that person seems so cool and awesome. And then as time goes by, they start to think, oh, I always feel kind of bad when I'm around this person. Like they're always kind of making me feel worse about myself. Maybe that's a sign that they're dealing with someone who's high in narcissism.
It could well be. That's right. It could certainly be that.
Okay. Well, I think that you should, learn the lessons of Greek myth, resist the siren song of your reflection to mix up my mythologies, and come back to the studio.
All right. This is Sam Gosling reporting for UT Smock News from beside a lake in a wood. It's back to the studio. Shadow! Shadow!